Hey guys, it's Chris. From messages that came from historical figures to items that make you scratch your head when you think of why they went for so much and more. Join me as I reveal 11 things people bought on eBay for a fortune. Number 11. Scathing Albert Einstein letter. When it comes to Albert Einstein, he's one of the men who helped define the world in terms of math, science, and genius. He was honestly that good, and if you have something associated with him, you're gonna be making a lot of money. What might surprise you, though, is that the item that came onto eBay wasn't just a letter. It was a letter he wrote back in 1954. It was to Jewish philosopher Eric Gutkind, in which he defended his views on ethics, religion, and human nature. This shows just how passionate Albert Einstein was about these things, in that he wouldn't bend just because someone felt they had a better understanding of things than he did. Decades later, it showed up on eBay and it sold for $3,100,000. Yes, it really went for that. And while I can understand the desire to have this unique piece of history, why did it only jump $100 from the starting price? It seemed like a drop in the bucket compared to the $3 million that the bidding started at. That, in essence, is the mystery that is eBay. Number 10. Guinea Pig Armor. This one is not just very real, it's very surprising in a variety of ways. You see, someone went and made handcrafted guinea pig armor, which honestly means someone is really good with their hands, but that's besides the point. Anyway, after making this armor and putting an actual guinea pig in it, they put it up on eBay where various news sites got eyes on it. But at first, no one was really bidding, because the best bid was $305. Of course, this was far from the record holder, as you might guess, but no less than 2 weeks later, someone bought the armor for $24,300. Yeah, that really happened. In the course of 10 days, the armor had gotten nearly 50 potential buyers, making over 156 bids. Now, before you think that this is super crazy, and I admit it kind of is, there's one big catch to this. According to the product's description, 100% of those profits would go towards Metropolitan Guinea Pig Rescue, a non-profit organization in Virginia dedicated to rescuing, rehabilitating, and finding new homes for unwanted guinea pigs. So while it is crazy that someone spent almost 25 grand on a new piece of guinea pig armor, the money sure went to a good cause. Number 9. The original Hollywood sign. When you go to Los Angeles, there are many iconic landmarks that are waiting for you to go and visit them. One of the biggest and most famous is the Hollywood sign that people have been gazing at for generations via their personal visits to LA or via movies and TV shows based in LA. Anyway, something that a lot of people forget is that the legendary sign isn't the one that's been there forever. Built in 1923 as a real estate gimmick, the maiden set of oversized Hollywood letters overlooked Los Angeles until it was replaced by a newer group in 1978. Of course, that makes sense when you think about it, especially with the popularity of Hollywood blowing up over the decades. The person who owned the original decided to sell it off in 2005 on, yes, eBay, and they asked $300,000 for it, which they got and then some, as the letters finally sold for $450,400. I hope the winning bidder has exciting plans for it, said the sign's previous owner, Dan Bliss. Whether they did or not is unknown, but without a doubt, they have a conversation starter every time someone comes to their place. Although they better have a pretty big place, because that's a huge sign to display inside a home. Have you ever bought or sold something strange or unique on eBay? Perhaps a collectible or an antique? Let me know what was the strangest thing you've ever dealt with in an online auction. Post about it in the comments below. Then be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because there are loads more amazing videos coming out right here all the time, and you don't want to miss them. So click subscribe now. Number 8. A camera used by Usain Bolt. One of the reasons that eBay gets a bad reputation is that people will put random and sometimes silly items that are related to celebrities in a loose way, and then they'll go and sell them and make a fortune doing it. Case in point, during the 2012 London Olympics, Usain Bolt had just won gold in the 200-meter dash. Photographers were on the sidelines naturally taking his picture, and one of them was Swedish man Jimmy Wickstrom. Usain went to Jimmy, grabbed his camera, took some shots of his fellow athletes, then the crowd, and to really seal the deal, he etched his name into the camera via a screwdriver and then gave it back to Jimmy. Instead of cherishing the item forever like most would have done, he put it on eBay. And the price he got for the camera? $11,600. Now on the plus side, the money he got went to charity, even getting Usain in on the deal to help make it even more memorable. But seriously, a camera that was only used by Usain once? It's not exactly the coolest way to spend 11 grand, even if it is for charity. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but then again, when it comes to unique collectibles, it doesn't really have to make sense to me, it just has to make sense to the person paying the money. Number 7. Martian Meteorite. Depending on how knowledgeable you are about space, you know that the Earth is constantly and consistently being pelted with rocks known as meteorites, right? Most times we don't have to worry about them because they're small enough to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. However, sometimes they crash on Earth, and people go and find them, examine them, and sometimes sell them. They can go for thousands of dollars on the internet, but there's an even rarer kind of meteorite, one from Mars. While there are tens of thousands of regular meteorites, only 132-ish are known to have come from Mars, and thus they are much more valuable. One such meteorite was sold back in 2013, and it got $450,000. This might seem dumb or even trivial, but think about it on a grand scale. This is the closest that person is likely to get to Mars in their entire lifetime. Because even with NASA and SpaceX preparing to go to Mars within this decade, that doesn't mean the buyer will be along for the ride. So this is their shot to touch Mars without actually touching Mars. Number 6. Coke cans. The other reason that eBay is a rather notorious place is that sometimes people sell everyday items on there and sometimes they make a whole lot of cash doing it. Such as with Coca-Cola cans. And yes, this is a real thing. And it's got a much bigger following than you're expecting, I promise. Because if you met a Coke collector, as in the drink, you'll find they have a deep knowledge of the brand and are always on the lookout for rare cans. So what defines rare? The vintage, the age of the can, whether it's a metal can or a glass bottle, that kind of thing. But the biggest one is the factory error cans, whereby some mistake was made in the process, and a Coke can is made with little to no fluid actually in it, despite the fact that it's sealed up. You'll find these all over eBay at times because a lot of people want them. They can sell for thousands of dollars to the die-hard collectors because they know that these kinds of errors are rare. But for the rest of us, most of us would just get confused and be like, can I get a Coke I can actually drink? This one's empty. Number 5. The Tuscan Village of Prataricia. This one might seem fake at first, but it's honestly real. 22 miles east of Florence, Prataricia is a Tuscan village that has about 25 homes filling up 20 acres of land. The owner of the land, a real estate agency, was trying to dump the land for years, but for whatever reason, they were never able to get a deal done. So in their desperation, they went to eBay to solve their problems. And it did and didn't solve them. On one hand, they did indeed sell the property, which is good, but they were asking $3 million for it and they only got $1.9 million. Still, considering all the stress they were under to get it, they likely were just happy to have made about 2/3 of what they wanted. Number 4. Andrew Fisher's forehead. What would you do to get the money you needed to go to college? For most of us, we'd work hard, get a job, get some loans if needed, etc. But for Andrew Fisher, he wanted the money so badly that he decided to go and sell his forehead in regard to putting an ad on it via a tattoo. Yes, this happened, and it's one of the most viral things to ever happen on Facebook. He did a very public auction and offered his headspace to any brand that would pay enough. Sure enough, SnoreStop paid over $37,000 to have their brand tattooed on his forehead. Now, before you freak out and call this man an idiot, which he technically is, I guess either way, the deal was made very clear that the tattoo would only be on his head for 30 days, which made it all the more curious that SnoreStop would pay $37,000 for it given it wouldn't be there forever. Ironically and sadly, this notion inspired a movement of people going and selling their foreheads as ad space, and at times it got really dumb. So if you see any of these people, you can go and blame Andrew Fisher for that. Number 3. Crash debris. If I was to tell you that someone went onto eBay to buy debris from a car that was in an accident, you'd probably say something along the lines of, wow, people are stupid. And yes, some people are. But this particular crash debris was honestly special, as it was the debris from a crash that contained Prince William of the English royal family. One day he didn't see a car as he was pulling out of his estate, and he hit another car that had 2 women and a baby in it. When people found debris from the wreck, they went and put it up on eBay, and it reached over 65,000 pounds, just for plastic parts from the car. This shows just how loving and loyal some royal family enthusiasts are, though it should be noted the money all went to charity. Number 2. Justin Bieber's milk glass. Anyone who knows a fan of Justin Bieber knows that they are a passionate bunch, so much so that anything associated with him is worth a fortune if they can find the right fans. And of course, one hotel seemed to understand this quite well. In fact, during a tour of the UK, Bieber entered a hotel pub and got a meal with a glass of milk on the side. One hotel staffer recognized Bieber, took a picture of him with the glass, and then saved the glass so she could sell it. She started the bids at less than $1, and it ended up selling for over 80 grand. Just as weird though, she didn't wash the glass because she knew that fans would want to feel Bieber on it, and thus that made it more valuable. And the kicker? She donated 10% of the purchase to an animal shelter, which may sound nice, but 10% isn't a lot when you think about what she sold it for. Number 1. An entire life. And no, this isn't as dark as you might think it sounds. Let me explain. A man named Ian Usher was at a low point in his life. He had gotten a divorce and was so grief-stricken with all the reminders of his ex-wife and his life with her that he decided he and that life had to go, wholesale. So he put his house, car, jet ski, and even job and friends up for auction on eBay. Naturally, this story was so insane, it got worldwide attention, and it was eventually all bought for $400,000. After getting the money and not having anything else tying him down, he went and traveled the world, bought a Caribbean island for himself, found a new love, and even sold his story to Disney. Bet you didn't think eBay would change lives like this, huh? Thanks for watching. What did you think of these items that people have spent a lot of money on? Which ones do you think were worth the price? Which ones do you feel were dumb and that people kind of wasted their money? You let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time on the channel.